They say stone cannot move, but stone remembers pressure, and sometimes it adjusts. While we are together in this moment, traversing the enshadowed interstices of this place, long-buried mysteries will emerge from beneath the ground, revealed under the cold beams of dawn. So, take my advice, follow closely, walk softly, and speak no word. It starts here. There is an island born from fire, a land hardened by ancient eruptions, where the ground itself feels like cool breath from something that once burned too hot. The people there carved their ancestors from the mountain, not from ordinary stone, but from volcanic tuff, soft enough to shape, strong enough to endure. Each figure bore a long face, heavy brow, sealed lips. They were not idols, they were vessels. Within them resided mana, a force not seen but felt, a current that guarded the clans, blessed the harvest, watched over the sacred grounds. And they did not face the ocean, they faced the land. They watched the living, or so it was believed. Among the stone workers was a man named Raku. He was not the most skilled, nor the strongest, but he listened to stone better than others did. When his chisel struck, he paused between blows, as if waiting for an answer. He had always felt that the rock was not empty. When they carved the great figures from the quarry's slope, he would stand behind their unfinished heads and sense something gathering, not inside the statue, but beneath it. Attention acquired, the elders spoke of mana as inheritance, as blessing, as continuity between the dead and the living. But Raku began to wonder, what if the stone was not being filled? What if it was containing? One dry season, when the wind scraped across the island like bone against bone, a tremor passed beneath the quarry, not violent, not destructive, just deliberate. The ground shivered in a long, low pulse. The others dismissed it as settling earth, old lava shifting beneath itself. Raku did not. That night, he returned alone to the slope where unfinished figures still slept half-born from the mountain. The sky was stripped of clouds. The stars seemed too sharp. He placed his palm against the cheek of a colossal face still attached to bedrock. Cold. Too cold. He pressed his ear against the stone. At first, nothing. Then, a vibration. Faint. Rhythmic. Not like an earthquake. Light breathing. He stumbled back. The sensation did not stop. It traveled through the quarry wall, through the ground, through his feet. The entire slope seemed to exhale. He ran toward the line of erected figures standing inland, the ones already placed upon their platforms, gazing across the fields and sacred sites. They stood unmoving, but something was wrong. Their shadows did not align with the moon. Each one leaned subtly forward, not enough to fall, enough to strain, as if listening. Raku circled one of the largest figures. Its back was massive, carved smooth. The platform beneath it was ancient and firm. Yet the soil behind the platform had fractured in a thin crescent line. He crouched. The crack widened, not outward, upward. From beneath the statue, a whisper escaped the earth, not a voice, not wind, something like pressure being released through a seam. Raku pressed his hand into the crack. Warmth, the warmth of something not yet cool. The tremor returned deeper now, a rolling pulse that did not shake the trees but passed through bone. And then it happened. The statue did not turn. It did not rotate or lurch, but its center of weight shifted. Stone grinding against stone, a sound so low it seemed imagined. The face, still directed toward the land, lowered by a fraction, not to watch the people, not to guard the sacred grounds, but to look at a single point in the earth before it. The crack widened further, a seam, running like a scar across the soil between several platforms. The other statues, in a silent chain, mirrored the tilt. All at once, not guardians now, not observers, but weight anchors. The realization struck him with primitive clarity. They were not watching, They were pressing, holding, pinning something beneath the island. The breathing grew stronger, not air, not wind, but displacement, like something vast adjusting its position under layers of cooled lava and compacted time. Raku stumbled backward. The ground beneath him sank half an inch, just enough to unsteady him. In the distance, dogs began to howl. The stars above seemed to flicker, not with movement, but with distortion, as though heat rose invisibly between sky and earth. Then silence, absolute. The crack sealed itself slowly, grains of soil cascading inward. The statues returned to perfect stillness. The tilt vanished. The night resumed. Only Raku remained altered. At dawn, he returned with elders. There were no cracks, no shifts. The statues stood firm, faces solemn, aligned toward the land as they always had been. He tried to explain. The elders listened with the patience reserved for children and the disturbed. One elder placed his hand against the statue's base and closed his eyes. After a long silence, he spoke softly. "The island remembers what we do not." That was all. But Raku noticed something the others ignored. The platforms, once level, had sunk imperceptibly deeper into the earth, as if bearing increased weight. Years passed. More statues were raised, bigger ones, heavier ones. The clans believed prosperity required greater mana, greater presence, greater ancestral force. So they carved more and more. Raku aged. His hands grew slower, but every tremor, however slight, he felt it first. The breathing never stopped. It grew patient. He understood eventually what the elders refused to name. Mana was not only a blessing, it was a binding, a pressure applied through stone into whatever lay beneath. The statues did not guard the people from invaders. They stabilized the skin of a sleeping thing, and each time they added another figure, they added another weight to the lid. In his final season of work, a violent tremor struck the island, stronger than before. Platforms cracked. One unfinished statue toppled before being erected. But the great inland figures did not fall. They pressed harder. The tremor ceased abruptly, too abruptly, like a breath forced back into lungs. Raku stood before the largest of them, now weathered by decades of salt and wind. He placed his forehead against its cold chest. He no longer feared what lay below. He feared what would happen if the weight were ever removed. Because pressure is not only suppression, it is balance. And balance is not peace. It is tension maintained. When Raku died, the carving slowed. Resources thinned. The great quarry quieted. Some statues remained half-born in the mountain, faces emerging from rock, bodies still imprisoned. Perhaps that was mercy. Perhaps the island decided it had enough anchors. Or perhaps the thing beneath it grew comfortable again, lulled by centuries of stone pressing into its back. No one can say, but if you stand among those figures and feel the ground beneath your feet, truly feel it, you may notice something subtle, not movement, not sound, just density, as if the earth there is slightly heavier than it should be. Conclusion: we believe we raise monuments to honor the past, but sometimes we build them to hold down what the past has buried. Stone does not speak, it compresses. And when something sleeps beneath us, it is not silence that keeps it there. It is weight. If you wish to continue these descents with us, you may subscribe and follow the signal. Until the next opening, stay safe and keep the flame blazing.